I use Synchro PRO because last night, at the Chinese restaurant, my fortune cookie said, imagination rules the world. Synchro is a tool that enhances imagination. Many of the other scheduling and project controls tools, I say, are designed for accountants, auditors, lawyers. There's data there, but it's built and maintained for a different purpose. When we bring Synchro into the room changes. There's a different dynamic. The guys who struggle to decipher a traditional schedule, whether it's Gantt-based or text-based with starts and finishes, now get it. But there's something else going on that's even more powerful than that. We get a better schedule sooner. What we've observed is that, again, the guys we rely on for the good data and how to build the schedule, the guys who are going to be in the field, when we do a schedule review, anything farther out than, say, 2 weeks from the work, they're usually not really engaged. Their minds are on something else. They've got work to do that week, the next week. And so if it's a traditional, line-by-line schedule, they're not giving us good feedback, good input. But with Synchro, we've been 14 months out, and we're solving stuff, and they'll tell us, hey, Charlie, normally we'd solve this in the field, the day of the work. Here we are 14 months out, realizing we've got a problem because we see it. We know we're going to have this rigging issue. We know we're going to have this clash. We know we can't fit this pipe through this area. The list goes on and on and on of the types of things that Synchro forces you to solve early. We had them working together to collectively solve problems rather than showing up in the field and fighting over who owned what space, who got to do what first and what sequence. We solved all that well ahead of time. We've had a much better communication about safety and risk. That again, there's a soft side benefit to that, to coordinate, communicate. Another huge benefit is we have observers of various types that can stop work in the field. And it's always painful when work is stopped on the critical path and critical path hours cost you $150,000 as a ballpark number that nobody usually argues with. So to be able to communicate to the observers ahead of time and show them this is what we plan to do, and they can make their objections ahead of time, and we come up with an alternate path, or we make the case to them that what we're going to do is actually the right way to do it. Either way, when we go to the field, we don't stop work. So there have been a lot of kind of soft side benefits. Now the hard side benefits, where there are numbers that we can document. Again, on a key project, we recognized we had an issue with abatement. We were able to identify a tool that we could bring in and test, and because we were doing Synchro over a year out, we had the time to bring in this tool, test it. It was a piece of laser abatement equipment that essentially vaporizes everything down to bare metal. Throughout the outage, we had over 36 hours of critical path abatement in the 2012 outage. In the 2014 outage, we did that work, that 36 hours of abatement, in 4 hours. And then another hard benefit that came from having that piece of equipment, which again would never have even been brought to the table as a requirement or necessity had it not been for the team in Synchro working to figure out how to optimize and where our challenges were, is that we had some large aluminum faces that we had to clean. And in 2012, we cleaned them by scraping and damaged them and had to do rework. 2014, we used the laser abatement equipment. We had no rework. And rework is something, whether you're on critical path or not, it costs you energy, it costs you time, it costs you money. So to cut out that, 2 days of rework was a significant gain. And then of course the hard benefit and the most important area for us, which is safety, to have gone from 10 dropped objects to none, 3 recordable injuries to none, 1 near miss to having none, and to have a much calmer, more coordinated, less congested strategy for every area where we're delivering work was a benefit of Synchro. With Synchro, I always go back to the people. That's where you improve. If you get all the key people engaged, creative problem solving, working as a team, not fighting in the field, but coming together for solutions, you're going to see improvement. The most recent example is we have a key period for one project that we do just about every outage, moving a motor. It's a 80,000 pound motor, 7,000 horsepower. When it comes out of the cavity. It's got about 1.5 inch clearance on one side, 4 on the other. We've got to rotate it 3 times as it comes up. But when we move that old motor out and a new refurbished motor in, we control the polar crane, and the polar crane really drives the primary side critical path. So our previous best performance in that evolution of swapping the motors was 34 hours. We had a baseline target for this unit based on the travel distances, other issues, of 36 hours. And for the first time, the team, for 8 weeks throughout the summer, reviewed every week a Synchro model. We had a lean review, further optimized strategies. They went out and they did that work in 25.75 hours. So 10 hours ahead of plan, 8 hours ahead of any previous best. Ballpark $1.5 million of critical path time given back to the primary side of the outage. Now, there was no single big kind of light bulb discovery, because this is something we do every outage. I think the real gain there was, well, twofold. One, we went with 3 shift strategy. So we had, and that was one of the reasons we wanted to use Synchro, or bringing in more contingent workforce. We had to train them well, and Synchro helped do that. But then 2, we avoided any significant delay, and the team had kind of built this continuous improvement, creative problem solving ethic as they worked together throughout the summer. So things that in the past might have led to a 1 or 2 hour delay were solved in 5 to 10 minutes, or were anticipated ahead of time and taken care of. So that was a tremendous accomplishment by that team, and a really great improvement that kind of encapsulates all the benefits of using Synchro. Anyone who has dealt with the challenges in the field, or has been engaged with the fallout of claims after the fact, or has struggled to understand what a schedule means, when they sit in the room and they see 4D, particularly with the ease of use and the power of visualization and simulation tools that Synchro has, is going to tell you, yes, this is the future. When I first saw it in 2008, I knew immediately, this is what I wanted to be doing. I knew the power of CPM for people that understood it. I was struggling with communicating CPM mechanics to the people who had to do the work. With Synchro, that struggle goes away. We're all in the room, we're all on the same page. We solve problems, come up with a plan. We have a tool now to communicate that plan. With Synchro Sight, we have a tool to capture what we're doing against that plan. And I would say it's not the future, it's now. You should be doing 4D now.